because we have a repeating value of x equals 3. So because that repeats, not a function. Number 11, you should have gotten negative 10. 13 was 2. 15 was 3a plus 2. And then 17 is a continuous function. So if you look at that, you have y equals 2.5 plus 3.25. That is a linear function with a y-intercept of 2.5 and a slope of 3.25, thus making it a continuous line. 19's over here. The answer is no, the variables have an exponent other than 1. This is actually the equation of a circle with radius 4. Oh, why did it go way up there? Okay, so it's actually a circle with radius 4. 21 is yes, that's linear. And 23 is no. X appears in the denominator. Okay. 25 in standard form is 12x minus y equals 0. So your a value is 12, your b value is negative 1, and your c value is 0. I will expect you to be able to do questions like 19, 21, 23. Like I'm looking for the yes, no. Do you know the difference between linear and nonlinear? Can you write it in standard form? Okay, 27 was x minus 2y equals negative 3. You got 1, negative 2, and negative 3. Jumping down to 29, the slope was 18. And 29, your slope was 18. And 31, your slope is negative 1. 31, your slope is negative 1. $33, you got y equals negative 2x minus 11. 35, y equals 2x plus 8. 37, it says write an equation for the pair of points passing through those. So give me 1 second, I'll pull up 37. It's over to the side, so I can't see it right now. 39, if lines are parallel, slopes are the same. So in 39, both had to have a slope of 4. So you had to use point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals 4, which is your slope for m, x minus x1. Slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And again, we'll go over all of the different forms in a minute. Okay, 41. Oh, your answer is a little cut off. I'll go through 41 with you, just like 37. Okay, we don't have to know that 49 is a quadratic. However, you should kind of recall that from geometry, but you will not have to know what type of function 49 is. 50 is an absolute value. That one you do need to know, as well as its equations. 52, Again, you're just telling me that it's reflected. You see that negative from the parent function? That means reflected. Okay, and then jumping down to 55. That's a linear line. It's solid, shaded above. $57 is dashed and shaded below. 60, I skipped 59, didn't I? So yesterday I sent a video showing you how to do question 45. So I recorded a video and graphed out 45. That is on Teams, so you can watch that video and see all of the important parts to doing number 45. Again, that is on Teams. It's a video, and I walk through exactly how to graph something like 44 and 45. You will be graphing a piecewise function on your Chapter 2 test. Okay, and there's your answer to 46. Let's also talk about some of the questions that we did not go over. So let's go over some of those now. So we just looked at 46, 47. You don't need to worry about, that was a skip. And then we jumped over to 59. So 59 is an absolute value. It is solid and shaded inside. Your vertex was at 1, 0, because your graph, its equation was the absolute value of 2x minus 2. So that pushes it to 1, 0, and your slope goes up 1 over 2. Okay, 61 is compressed. Your vertex was at 3, 0. It was solid and shaded below. So, I did not have you guys do the Chapter 2 practice test, but if you think you need more help, I actually sent and created the answer key to that and posted it. So anybody looking to do extra problems or study tonight can use the Chapter 2 practice test I posted. And then, like I said, we skipped 37 because it was missing. So 37, your answer was y equals negative 4x plus 25. And 41, I cut off, and it was y equals 32x plus 250. So before we move on to another part, are there any questions about values from negative 2 to 2? So the values from negative 2 to 2 follow the equation x minus 1. So we'll graph that in blue and create its table in blue as well. They begin at negative 2 and end at positive 2. And a number between negative 2 and 2 is 0. So I'm going to plug those 3 points into my equation, and I get that x is negative 2, therefore y is negative 2 minus 1, or negative 3. Plugging in 0 to that x minus 1, you get negative 1. Plugging in 2 to x minus 1, you get 1. So my beginning is at negative 2, negative 3. It's less than or equal to, so my dot is closed. It ends at 2, 1, which is open. So I'm going to, on my graph, start at -2, -3, with a closed point. I'm also going to plot 0, -1, and I'm also going to plot 2, 1, but I'm going to make sure when I plot the point 2, 1 that I leave that as an open circle. Connecting those dots, I have this graph right here. So again, that represents the middle piece. The final piece is x values greater than or equal to 2. So that would be like 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to plug those points into the equation 2x. So 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. At 2 on this equation, it's included, so it's going to get a closed circle. And this time it's continuing infinitely, so it gets a closed circle with an arrow. So then I'm going to go about plotting those points on my graph. So I have the point 2, 4. And that point is closed. I have the point 3, 6. And I have the point 4, 8. And I put an arrow to indicate that this is continuing infinitely in the positive direction. Good? Better? So again, I will guarantee on your quiz, you have to make 3 tables with 3 points and graph all 3 lines. So you will definitely have something like 44, 45, and then this example here. So what I want to do is give you a set of formulas that act as a review. So there will be no formula list on your test. You need to know what the formulas are. So we're going to go through right now and talk about the important kind of vocab real quick. Because in order to be successful and understand, you need to know what I'm asking of you. So for your test, you'll need to know domain and range, right? And we should know that. You'll need to know a function says for every x, there is only one y. So for every x, there is only one y. The x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. The y value here is always 0. The y-intercept is the converse of that. It's where the graph crosses the y-axis. And x equals 0. Equations of a line, there are 3 of them. So you have standard form, that is ax plus by equals c, where A is positive and we have no fractions. So the standard form of a line, A is positive and we have no fractions. The slope-intercept is where you can see your slope and y-intercept. So slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. And then the last equation you need to know is point slope. So point slope is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And again, my m value is my slope. Slope is rise over run. So that's from way back in the day where slope is m. You get slope by taking y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that y1 and x1 up in this equation are actually the same y1 and x1 from finding the slope. If lines are parallel, then the slope is the same. If lines are parallel, the slope is the same. If lines are perpendicular, then slope is opposite reciprocal. So if parallel, slope is the same. If perpendicular, slope is the opposite reciprocal. So the very first 8 questions on your test are going to be matching these types of information. So you don't necessarily have to memorize that formula, but you need to know the word it matches to. Does that make sense? So I'm not asking you to memorize this because it'll be on your test, but I'm not telling you what it represents. Does that take away a little anxiety? So I'm not telling you have to, this will be on your test, but I'm not going to tell you slope. You have to be able to match those two real quick at the beginning. It's going to be the first thing you do. So that's my way of saying, okay, I'm not giving you the formulas, but I'm giving you the formulas. The last key thing you need to know or recall is less than or greater than when graphing. These are either open circles or dashed lines. So they're either open circles on piecewise or dashed lines on graphs. Greater than or equal to graphs as closed circles. And solid lines. If your inequality is like this, then you're going to shade below or to the left. If your inequality looks like these, then you shade above or to the right. That is the summary of all the key pieces of information. You guys have been doing practice problems for several days. We're going to complete a couple more practice problems right now, doing Jeopardy. So I had, where'd they go? Some blank boards for you. There they are. Because for tomorrow, your last homework assignment of the 9 weeks, and hopefully easy points, was to either watch Tuesday's Jeopardy or you had to click through it to fill in a Jeopardy board. If you have not done that yet, I'll give you 2 blank boards today, so you can make sure you do that tonight. So again, I'm giving, did you guys already do the Jeopardy then? So like, did you do Tuesdays? You watched both, so they copied yours too? That's what it's giving you 2. So like, you don't have, like, you'll have 2 now, so you can watch Tuesdays or click through it. If you click through it, you only have to do half of the problems. So like, if you click through it and you didn't watch Tuesday's lesson, you only have to do half. You were on live, so you're good. That one. So again, those be turned in before class tomorrow. That is your last grade of this 9 weeks. Because tomorrow's test is going to be your first grade of the new 9 weeks. Because group A and remote won't take it till after the 9 weeks closes. So tomorrow's test is not changing your grade this 9 weeks. It's actually what you start the third 9 weeks with. So this assignment here, your borderline grade, is your last set of points for this 9 weeks. So again, on Teams, I put out the links already to these Jeopardy boards. So all you have to do is go onto there and you can click and see them. So if you're missing the other days, you can just go right on and click it. So we're not even going to do Teams. We're just going to click through and talk about each of these. So, relations and functions. For each element of the domain, it pairs to exactly one element of the range. What's that's the definition for? Does anybody know what that is the definition of? What? Function. Perfect. Awesome. What is a function? And this is actually a special one. It's 1-to-1. Because it's one element of the range. Awesome. Yes.
Are we writing down the answer?
Yeah. An equation that has no operations other than addition, subtraction, and multiplication of a variable by a constant, so meaning you do not have exponents or variables multiplied together. What type of equation is that? No exponents, no 2 variables multiplied together. Give you a hint. Has something to do with the category. Linear equation. There you go. What is a linear equation? A linear equation. So you need to know no exponents, no variables multiplied together. So if I ask you, is this linear and x is being multiplied by y? The answer is no. If there's an x squared, the answer is no. A graph that forms a V shape and is made up of 2 lines that are mirror images of each other is known as what type of graph? What graphs form V's? Brian? Perfect. Absolute values form a V. Absolute values, form AV. A set of data points graphed as ordered pairs in a coordinate plane. So when you have a bunch of points all graphed together, they make up what type of graph? You have a, thank you, awesome, a scatter plot. An equation of a line in this form. What form is that? We just talked about it. It's y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. That is what form? Not slope intercept. Which one? Point slope. So again, guys, if you write down the word point slope, that's not necessarily going to help you as much. Maybe copy this down too. The act of writing helps us to remember. So if you didn't write that the last time, maybe now you write point slope, and then you write this down. The act of writing helps us remember. My son hates me for that, because I make him write down all his German vocab words. Okay, the point on the line that contains x equals 0. What point contains x equals 0? It has a special name. Ooh, vertex can be a bunch of different numbers. The y-intercept. Fantastic. So the vertex is h comma k, guys. Vertex is h comma k. So in case you need to think about that, vertex will be h comma k. It can be any set of numbers.
Oh, isn't that where, like, it comes to the point?
Yes. It's where it has the point on the absolute value. Awesome. Okay. Two lines with the same slope are? Brian? Parallel. Fantastic. Parallel, same slope. Parallel, same slope. If an inequality symbol is less than or greater than, my line will be solid or dashed? Dash. So again, if I have you graph an inequality, that's 1 point. Whether your whole graph is wrong, if you dash that line, you get a point. When the graph of a function has an a value greater than 0, is the graph going to be open up or open down? So if my a value is greater than 0, will the absolute value graph open up or open down? Up. Awesome. And the graph will be stretched. The domain of an absolute value or linear equation is always all real numbers. Fantastic. Easiest point you can get. The domain of an absolute value or linear equation is all reals. A set of ordered pairs represents what? A set of ordered pairs. This is the definition of a word we talked about in Chapter 2, Section 1. Another hint. A relation. A set of ordered pairs represents a relation. Think about being paired off. that puts you in a relationship with someone. If you're a pair, you're in a relationship. That is a relation. What form is ax plus by equals c? What form is ax plus by equals c? Standard. My a value has to always be what? Positive. It also can never be a fraction. Fantastic. That's not a great definition. If the a value of an absolute value graph is negative, then the graph is, what's that called when a graph is, an absolute value graph has a negative a value? Compressed will be a fraction, a value. So you got a good term for a, but not the term we're looking for if it's negative. Reflected. Fantastic. So it is reflected. That means the graph opens down. So if A is negative, then it is reflected or down. All right, guys, that wraps up our time. Study, study, study. Have a great day. It is a